All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are well. Let's see if we can find some money today. Hope you guys had a great weekend, man. It was a great 4th of July weekend. I'm glad that it was on a Thursday because we had literally Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it felt like a 4-day weekend. Now it's time to get back to business. We've celebrated Independence Day. My family had a great time. We caught up with some other families, met some great people, and it just reminds me of this great nation, of what we're celebrating. And I just feel blessed to be in a nation that we have the ability to have freedoms, and we have to fight for those freedoms. We got to fight to keep that ideology alive. We have to use the power of voting and taking a stand for important issues. Um, and there's especially being a believer, you got to stand these days, folks. You have to stand. So let's go ahead and dive in and jump into it. I just want to remind everybody of why we do this. We do this because we're on a mission to live life on purpose and build God's kingdom. That's what it's about. I'm not calling you guys to perfection, but I am calling you to impact. And I believe as you're making an impact and you're being intentional and you're walking into where you need to walk in, your life overall will change. Does that make sense? Your life will overall change. So let me go ahead and pull up the charts. I want to see if we can find some pre-market stuff. It's been a little bit quiet, so I'm looking at my other screen as well. So let me just go ahead and get some stuff set up first, and we'll take it from there. Let's look at Nasdaq, my favorite. It moves so quick. And as we're doing this, I want to kind of pull up FinVix. I'm going to have all kind of stuff on the screen, and I am aware that I'm not sharing my screen yet, so just bear with me, please. And let's see, share screen, and then I'll just share entire window. All right, beautiful. So you guys can see exactly what I'm saying. Oh, that's weird. It's like the Matrix, right? So let's go to FinVix. What I like about this, it just kind of gives an edge. This box will change colors whenever the market opens. We are in pre-market session. So I tell anybody, especially if coming from the West Coast, Central Time, to set your clocks uh, to New York when you're trading. Everything moves and it's really determined by what's going on in New York time. So definitely be aware of that. Um, Let me see if you guys can see my screen. Let me just go back quickly. All right. Just put a 7 if you're seeing my screen. I'm just going to check one other thing myself just to see if we're good. Because you don't want to do a whole recording and then you find out, oh, by the way, something wasn't working. That's the worst. That is the worst. Awesome. So it looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. All right. Bam. Beautiful. So let's check out this chart. We're sharing the screen. I'm going to go and check this out. Oh, goodness. Don't tell me I'm having technical difficulties. Gotta love when this stuff happens. No worries. No worries. Just a part of recording. All right. So I got my infamous trading view up. I'm looking at the market. It's a little bit choppy right now. Like it's nothing too significant going on right now. Um, when that's the case, I always like to say, okay, let me see what's going on. Let me just do this, folks, because this is really messing me up. My apologies. My apologies. Sharing a tab is easier than sharing everything. Okay, good. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Let's dive in. No more interruptions. So, daytime frame, we're looking at this. I want to kind of look at this cluster movement right here as well. And we're literally starting with this particular candle out for the day. We've had a lot of up momentum. And so, if we zoom out even on a monthly, we are high, man. Just look at the month of July and how it started, right? Look at that on a monthly time frame as of July 1st, and this was June. So let's just kind of mark this. And this is, I'm just showing you guys just to do this because I always like to have a gauge of where we're being in the market. And it allows me just to know, hey, as you're looking, make sure you have the proper bias as you're trading. Now, of course, as a day trader, we're not trading off the monthly at all, but we can see where the month has been. And what we're looking for is also just areas. So what I'm also going to do is draw the zone right quick as well. I'm just going to draw it in this wick. And I'm actually going to do it a yellow color. The reason I'm saying this that this wick going back and forth almost is a magnet in price. And I want to be aware of it. So that goes down as low as 19,913, all the way as high as 20,431. Does everybody see that? Okay. Let's go to the daily and let's look at the daily candle. And as you see, our trading range has been in here, but we do have a gap that is in the middle. And as I've mentioned many times before, whenever we have a gap, we know that's going to be money. Now, we don't know exactly when it's going to be, but we do want to mark it off in the chart. Gap in the market. The gap creates an imbalance. And we want to be aware of imbalances in the market. So I'm going to type in imbalance as well. You guys see that? Beautiful. Awesome. Give me some comments if you're here. Let me know where you're at. Just don't be quiet. It's kind of hard just teaching and you don't see the people. You know they're lurking, but you want to see where they're at. Okay, you guys see that? Awesome. So imbalance in the market right around this area. If I look at this candle, this was the 5th of July, and now we're here. So I'm going to do a couple of more lines. I'm zooming in. And just watch what I'm doing. And maybe this can help you out. I know when I first started trading, this helped me out. Let me change the color of that. Let's just do that blue. And so if you're just tuning in, what I'm doing is going from the daytime frame. Actually, I went all the way at the monthly. I'm marking out areas that we really need to pay attention to. And so that's what it was in this black. This was our trading range. Let me quickly go back if you're just tuning in. I marked that out as a range. So if you see that yellow box, this area is a lot. There's magnets in here. When I just say magnets, just more so a term. Price will want to come back and check on this because of this wick. So this was an area imbalance took place. Buyers pushed it up, sellers pushed it down. And then when that new month started, boom, it broke that area. Okay. So what we're looking at is really trying to get the basis of our trade. And I'm identifying these areas. Here's my trading range. I'm looking at the candle that happened on Friday. And then now we're here on Monday. Does everybody see this? So let's zoom in. And I'm going to actually zoom into the 1 hour. And as I zoom into the 1 hour, I am trying to find out, do we have setups? Now, it is pre-market. It is really not moving right now. Like I really haven't seen it just be this quiet. It is 8:41, so the market is opening. And what is that? Probably about 50-something minutes. Yeah, well, 40-something minutes. So close to that. We just need to be aware of that and look to see, is there going to be something that takes off? Okay. Now, as we're looking at this particular candle, and again, we're on the 1 hour, I do have my volume profile up. You see there was a lot of distribution right around this area. And if we go to the left, let's just see how far we can zoom. Let me go back. And that's what you like when the market is breaking some high records and you're looking to say, okay, where do I find the moves? Look at this, folks. I really have to zoom to try to find something. You guys see that? Like I'm searching over here for something. But guess what? I do see this wick. I see this wick right here as well. So as I'm looking at my volume profile, and I'm moving around a little bit, we're playing right in this area. This is highs that we never been to. One of the challenges as a trader is you're trying to find out how high will this go and should I be looking for the sell? You have to do that, right? So is there any fundamentals that have came out to make us say, hey, this market is moving a particular way? From what I'm seeing, and you guys zoom in with me, what trend are we in right now? Let me just go back to the chat and see, are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? Somebody let me know. What does it seem like from what you're telling? You know, as we zoom out, we see the market kind of consolidates, shoots up, consolidates, and we're all over the place. Let's just mark up some consolidations, right? Because again, what I want to do and train my eyes is I want to find areas where the orders were starting to build up. You guys see that? There's another area, right? Just kind of going back and forth. Watch this. And on those areas of consolidation, that's when we have our breakouts. Now, you guys talk to me. Do you want to catch a breakout? I know I love catching breakouts. I'll speak for myself. Look, I'll answer the question myself, right? Yes, give me the breakout. You guys see that? Look at the other one right there. And it's literally all over the charts. I mean, I can do this all day long. Again, if you're just tuning in, what are we doing right now? We're looking at pre-market setups. We're trying to find out, is the market showing us something that we can find to trade? And so it's real choppy right now. I'm having to really look into it and see if I can identify patterns. You guys see it, and so we'll see it chops up, chops up, shoots down, and it does this back and forth. And now we're at this brink right here on these two candles. So let's move it here as well. If you're new here and you're following me, I would suggest that you open up a chart just like I'm doing and kind of mirror what I'm doing, right? Trading is one of those things that needs to be modeled and it needs to be shown, and it helps you. So let's look at it. And I really want to look at this one leg from right here. I want to look at the most recent swing high, swing low to swing high. You guys see that? So I'm going to draw my fib tool. And I'm drawing on my fib tool. We're looking at a 4-hour chart. And I want to see, is there a particular area that we can get a full swing? So if you haven't used the fib tool, the way we want to use it is go to the bottom right here of this area and see the move. Now, if I was looking to short the market, I would want it to kind of get deep. I want to get some level of correction because I'm liking this particular area. I think we might have found a particular setup, but I'm still waiting because it's barely moving. It's almost like I need to check my computer and see is anything being shown, because I'm not seeing anything. Now, let's go back here. I see this on a 4-hour. I want to zoom in this particular area and see is anything presenting itself. And so let's go in here. Look at this 3-candle formation, just a big candle, another big candle, another big candle. And if I went from these three, this candle, and this candle, I've identified a fair value gap. Okay, we might have something. Don't get too excited yet. Let me put that in purple, like purple, royal color. You say, Coach, well, how are you seeing this? Look at it with me. Big moves in a big candle. We have this candle, the next one. If you notice, there's a gap between the wick here and this candle. So that is known as an FVG, fair value gap. What we've seen is typically the market will come down in the 50% level of this in the middle. Right around there. Sometimes it'll touch it, but let's just say right around there, 50%, to grab orders, to then take it to the upside. It's kind of what we're waiting on. Now, let's draw it out a little bit more, right? So I found this fair value gap. It is at the 1 hour. I want to go lower to see, can I see it on a lower time frame? Let me get something to drink. You guys tracking with me? So look at the 15-minute one. We're going to zoom in. We're seeing a supply zone right here. Yeah. I think we might have found a short-term trade. Let's just check this out. All right, I just jumped in a trade. I'm going to adjust my buy stop right around here as well. So I'm risking about 1,500 on this one. I do have to tell you guys, I can't tell you to trade. Me telling you how to trade, I can teach it. I can speak it to it from an education standpoint. Trading is risky. You could win, you could lose. So the first rule is don't trade with any money that you cannot afford to lose. Are you guys track with me? Now, as we speak, I got into trade, 4 contracts up $120. I like this zone, and then I see another one at the bottom here as well. We're kind of finding all kind of zones today, yeah. I'm just going to draw it a little bit wide just to tell myself that, hey, there's buying going on, and I need to look for it. You guys see this? We looked in here, nice supply zone. We're up 160 as we speak. We're not going to get too excited. We'll move on. At 160 is pretty good. But what I do like about this is like a 160 that you can find quickly in the morning time. Now, I would like to catch an impulse right in here as well. Like I like to break it, maybe come in here quickly, grab it, and then I'm out. So let me just kind of move that up a little bit. You say, well, why are you doing it, right? I'm doing a little bit of a scalp, but I'm also being aware of what's going on. I have my stop right above here as well. So if you notice where my stop is, let's see, the high is, what is that? 26.39. And I've given it about a $10 wiggle room. So now you see it's in a negative a little bit as well. Let's go down. And I just want to see some market structure. And if we can get some good market structure, we can catch a little bit of the downward momentum. Also, as we're looking at this, we want to pay attention to where the volume has been because we're trading off of volume, if that makes sense, anybody. So it's back and forth to 100. I would like to get an impulse down. So I want to get a short sale, boom, to this blue line. That'd be 2016, 225. It could happen. It'd be very good if it does. I have 4 contracts. We're up about $200 right now, which is pretty good. And if you look at the time frame of this, this is happening in real time. You guys leave a comment in the chat if you like what's going on, if you're learning something. I always like to kind of be an open book. Open book helps. You're seeing a trade that I'm taking. Yep. And what we're doing 4 contracts. We're wanting to see it drop. I've identified zones as this doing this right where I'm going to man the trade, but I'm still going to be looking at it. Okay. What am I looking at? I'm looking at this whole market structure, which looks pretty good right here as well. But we do have a little bit of a traffic jam. So in areas that I'm kind of paying attention to, and I'll just mark these out as well. Big reversal areas. This was one at one time. And again, it's always good to mark these so that you can know where the market possibly can revisit. Is that making sense, everybody? Now look at what happened with this, right? It was a sell zone, boom, danced around, shot up, dropped, and the zone was broken, and now it's established something else. So when it's coming on my trade, what I'm having to pay attention to, because it's going back and forth, we have resistance. We want to see, is the market going to be dropping? But notice, just because I got in profit, I'm not overly excited because I need to see a true break. So it's going back and forth. So I always got to be able to man my stop loss at this one. I'll make the adjustments as the market is moving. And that's one thing that you definitely want to do, as you're doing these type of trades, to be aware of what you're looking at, the structure, and just going back and forth with the structure. Does that make sense? So don't just jump in and say, okay, I saw some money. It really depends on your style. From what I'm doing here, I'm not just jumping in the trade, but I'm wanting to see how it plays out. So now I was up 200. Now I'm down 140. Again, if it breaks above this area right here, I'm out. Period. You guys see this? If it breaks above there, I'm out. So a little bit of back and forth going on. Another thing that I'm paying attention to, let me just take this out. You guys see that? I'm looking at this area because there's a fight around this area. How do I know this? This was a point of control at one time. So price is going to be attracted to this. It's going to go back and forth. We need to be able to see what's going on. That's why with this stop loss, I need to look at it around this area and see what's going to do. Now, you might say, well, why don't you have it right here? Why don't you move your stop right there? Well, here's the challenge. What I've also seen is you can move your stop right there and it can wick that high and take you out. So just from experience, I like to give it a little bit of wiggle room. And if I get some wiggle room, if there's some type of fake out, I can deal with it. So I'm willing to lose on this trade 1500. And it's pretty much like a 2 to 1, which isn't too bad. But I am managing my risk. And so, one thing that I am going to say, if you're learning how to do this, manage your risk, look at what the candles are presenting. And what I'm seeing is a lot of going back and forth. And that's what we're testing. So, we need to see this area. Are the sellers going to defend this area to sell it down, or is it going to go up? Okay. Let's go to the 1 minute. What I like about the 1 minute in this, especially as I'm scalping, the 1 minute is kind of showing me market structure. Now, check this out. There is a fair value gap right here as well. And it's actually doing its part as we speak. You guys see that? Look at 1, 2, 3, three candle formation. 1, 2, 3, a little bit of a gap. Let me put it in purple for you. And you can actually see it. Gap in the market. This candle actually shot up in it. Almost 50%, as I mentioned before. You guys see that? Kind of like the 50% mark. And it's going to defend it. So a lot of times, if you're wanting to set up an entry, you can do it around fair value gap. So I happen to enter perfectly right around a fair value gap. Okay. And this is a fair value gap on the 1 minute. Now, what a lot of times institutions will do is their algorithms will see these gaps, and on the 1 minute, and sometimes 5 and 15 minutes, activate trades. So they'll push it back up to go into the gap because there were trapped orders around here. They were trapped because of how fast it left. So because it left so fast, we look at those gaps and we use those as a way to trade off those gaps. Yep. Now, one other thing I forgot to mention. Let me see how many people we got on here. Okay, good. You guys are quiet today, so sometimes that happens. But let's keep it moving. So look at this, folks. We're getting a little bit of some power going on. This is the 1 minute, so you can't get overly excited on this one. But we want to see, is it going to be some drastic movement going to the downside? Look at this, folks, 140. It should sweep this low right here as well. So I'll mark some of this stuff off. Because often people ask us, well, look, man, where do I take my take profit? Well, that could potentially be one right here as well. Look at that. It's going to sweep it. And then you've got this big area over here as well. Are you guys seeing that? So it's pushing back and forth. We just have to be aware of where it's going. Now, I would like it to sweep right around this area, but it seems like it might be a little bit more probable right around this area, the 2623. So nice $7 move on futures. You can trade that pretty quick. Again, it doesn't take much. I am doing 4 contracts. One thing we do need to be aware of is the time. So the market actually opens in 33 minutes. And in 33 minutes, we can get some of the big shifts that can happen. So you have to be aware of that as well. Also, if you're going to be trading like this and scalping, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your zones. Want to make sure that you're doing this. This is a demand zone right here as well. Now, it is a 1 minute demand zone, so it's not like it's overly strong, but you still want to be aware that that's going on. Does that make sense? And so I can actually see the origin of it. So let's just check this out. We had a drop, basin candles rally. We want it like these basin candles. And according to our rules, you want to look at the market and see how fast it left an area, right? So if it's sitting there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles, I don't like that. Now, notice what happened here, right? So we're zooming in. Let me just do another box just so this sticks out. Are you guys seeing it? So I don't like zones like this because this tells me that they are trying to stack up some orders. This shows this to me. I like zones like the next one, drop, basin candles, rally. Because look at what happened. I mean, we're right in line with this stuff. And that's why as we're trading, we just got to beware. So check this one out. Literally, price has been bouncing off that area. And that is why you have to position yourself to look to the left to see what's going on. So we have a bunch of consolidation right quick. And this is just on the 1 minute, right? So I know we're kind of zooming in a little bit, but let's get some good teaching moments. Yeah. So just look at all of this, folks. Are you guys seeing it? Let's do orange. Maybe make it stick out. Look at all that consolidation. Market literally just bounced around here a whole bunch of times. Accumulation, distribution. Now we're in here and it's going back and forth. So we're trying to see how strong this area is, or is this going to blaze down through the area? Let me just go to the chat, see if we have any questions. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Let's keep on going. So we're looking at this candle, and what I want to see is a strong impulse down to sweep below these lows. Like that would be good. This is an area that we've been to multiple different times. So I've even moved my take profit right around that area because it increases my chances. Again, I'm scalping right now, so I have an idea of what I'm willing to lose. I have my stop right around here, you guys. And so as I zoom out, it looks way high because of the area, which is fine. But I want to catch that big move. Now look at this candle. We might have it as an impulse down to sweep below this low. So perhaps this could be a $500 morning, could be a little bit more. We'll see. If I'm trading off the 15-minute time frame, look at this, folks. What I like is that I'm getting a bigger and broader perspective, and we're seeing that the market is shifting, right? Look at the push down, 240. If we get to 26.23, be a nice quick payday, just for contracts. And I want to get it right in the middle of traffic, right? Because here's the thing about it. If I can make some quick money pre-market, that's awesome. But then also I'll go back during market time because I know there's going to be some manipulation. So that's one of the key ways is if you're going to be doing pre-market money, just make sure you know what you're looking for and you understand that the market is going to shift when there's a bunch of volume that comes into the market. Hopefully that makes sense. So pre-market plans, take your money, and then when the market opens, don't just jump in the market exactly when it opens. I've made those mistakes. Now you can't make a bunch of money with that one, but sometimes let the dust settle a little bit. Just imagine everybody trying to run at Starbucks at the same exact time. Very frustrating. You have to wait. But if you just kind of let it cool down, everybody get used to it, and you'll be able to find a place to sit and everything else. So from the markets, that's what we want to do as well. We don't want to just jump in and go for the fake out because there is going to be some manipulation when the market opens. That's just how the market is. And so understanding those nuances and how do I apply strategy to it. Let me just check the chat to see if we have any questions. Are you guys seeing this thing move? Yeah. Give me thumbs up if you're doing. Put a 7 in the chat. Okay, we're at 340. Should hit our take profit, hopefully. Looks pretty good. Now watch this. I can trail my stop if I want to a little bit as well. You guys see that? I just moved in a little bit. So as the trade grows and it's kind of moving down and I'm checking the momentum, I will adjust it. Now look at that. It literally hit an area and it's going back and forth. So that's another thing that we got to keep in our mind as we're looking at the pre-market. It'll have a lot of back and forth movement going on. It's very, very choppy. I would say when it's choppy, for some people just don't trade because it can be frustrating. The reason I did take this trade is I did understand that we were in a sell zone. So that's why I'm selling. So part of my trade plan is it comes in zones like this. If it's a nice zone, take the trade. That's just what you do. But I am being aware of exactly what's going on. And because of that, now look at it now, I'm down 120. So this will go back and forth. We might have another impulse up. I'm still going to stay within my trading guidelines. So I'm going to adjust my stop a little bit just because a fake might happen, a couple of dollars, and this is where my stop was initially. And I tend to do that back and forth. I've been trading a long time, so I've just seen so much manipulation. If I'm in front of the computer, I have mental stop losses because the institutions can see where you put out your stop. But also, I think it's a good idea to just be aware of it, right? And so I'm right in front of this computer. I wish I could show you guys some magic that was going to happen this morning. But the reality of it is it's going back and forth. We did see it get as high as 300. Um, I didn't take the profit on that one because I just believe that it's going to drop more, but I am willing to risk 1,500. So again, I don't get excited when I see green. I get excited when it hits my take profits. Does that make sense? Now, it's not like I get excited when it's red, but I want to see green. I'm not like, oh my gracious, I'm up. So right now I'm down 240. We might see some manipulation where it sweeps this high. And so if you'd like, you can also put a line right here as well. Now, this red line isn't my stop. This red line is just identifying a swing high right here as well. That's all that I have it for. So this is just for me. You guys see it? So that's what I'm looking at. Also, I see this candle was in the middle of that fair value gap. And I'm just looking at what's going on. We're going back and forth. Maybe we have it where it pushes down, but again, so much stuff around here. So that's one thing that we had to pay attention to in this trade. We see it's wanting to break its head. Again, if it breaks out at this point, I might see a wick. I'll probably wait if it's a closure or not. If it closes above, I'm out of the trade. Does that make sense? So I have a clear exit on it, down 160. So it's just going back and forth, back and forth. Let me check my time. Okay, 33 minutes in. So, folks, sometimes with trading, right, it's just like this. I wish I could say that, hey, I'm just going to see the trade and it's just going to do everything that I wanted to. No, sometimes trading is you watching it. You're pretty much just drying paint. I'll play some praise and worship music on. I'll read some other stuff. I can set alarms. But me staring at the screen is not going to make it move. One thing I will say is, do be active and aware that we can have a huge move that can come out of nowhere. And that tends to happen before the next market opens. So that's what I would like to see here. We see that we have this red candle, so it's pushing down. We might get a push through this area, right? But there's like a whole traffic jam. Let me just write that down, right? Traffic jam. And because of a traffic jam, that's why we're running into a bunch of this. So on the chart, when you start seeing all of these wicks all over the place, that's letting you know this is an area that we've been to a lot of times. A lot of stuff's going to happen. So we're dealing with this wick, all these different wicks, and the market is just going back and forth to see what it needs to do. And that's all what we're basically doing, right? So what's the strategy today? The strategy today as I close is be aware of the markets. If you're going to be scalping this, understand what you're scalping, what your risk is, identify that, like lock it in, tell yourself, hey, I see exactly what's going on. Be firm with your stop loss. And when I mean being firm, have one in place. Don't put it so close that you don't give it any wiggle room. But if I do get a big impulse down and I'm in profit, I'm going to trail that stop loss eventually to a break even. Now, say this with me. You can't go broke taking profits. And so there's a lot of traders, and I've been guilty of that before, where I didn't lock in profits. Now, you might say, well, that happened today. Not necessarily, because I understand what I'm trading and account size and everything else is in place. So I'm not putting myself in harm's way, because even with what I'm risking right within the place that I should be risking. Does that make sense? So again, everybody has a different style. And look at this move. Did you guys see how that candle just shot up? And it's showing you this stuff can happen. So down 420, no need to panic. I'm willing to risk 1,500. So we still have about 1,200 to go if we got on there. but I'm not chasing that impulse. I am looking at a setup where it's kind of came in that area and it might be pushing. So we need to see if it gets right around here, if it's trying to sweep these highs. And it looks like that's what it's wanting to do. So part of trading is managing your risk, managing your expectation, and also looking at market structure. You guys track with me. We're looking at this area. This could be an area of big rejection, or it could be an area of a major breakout. Let's see. Down 480, impulse to 5. Okay, we should cross this other mark. Now, if it breaks above, and when I say breaks above, I'm not talking about a wick. I'm talking about closes above this red line. Then that's going to tell me, hey, it's time to close shop. Everybody see that? Time to close shop. Minus 540. Minus 600. Uh-oh. 640. We've got 24 seconds left in this. Look at this wick. Let's see what it does. Minus 540, minus 460. Look at that. It's pushing. And that's how we fall for that manipulation too. In essence, what I think what's going on is the buyers are trying to see if we're going to do it. Now, a shadow has been formed, so it could fill in the shadow. We don't know. This is a 1 minute time for 5 minutes. Let me just zoom out a little bit. It looks like a continuation pattern is developing, rally-based rally. We are looking at these wicks right here as well. But I think this is good. People can show you how to win. How do we deal with a trade when it's winning to the negative? How do we follow our plan? That's what people need help with, right? This is where people get anxious. This is like, oh, dang it, it's happening to me again. Woe is me. Woe is me is not going to help you in trading, folks. Nope. You have to have a strategy to win, a strategy to lose, a strategy to management. You have to have all. Look at what happened. Minus 400. It's going back and forth. Now, I would love to get a nice impulse down to sweep these bottoms, right? Because we've already dealt with the traffic jam up top. We don't know exactly what's happening. We're kind of waiting. Let's see what time it is in New York. 9:11. 9:11. So I know the movement's coming. I would love to get out of here before the bell rings to start the day's trading. We'll see. We'll see. Now, I'm not going to be on with you guys for an hour and some change, but hopefully we can get some good rejection and a push down. Let me go ahead and put a link to this chart. Maybe this might help somebody out. I know I was learning how to do this. I wanted to know how people were doing the charts. So I'm going to put this in the chat. You guys seeing it? Beautiful. I don't know if I've set this up right today because I'm not seeing any type of comments, but I think I'm getting some type of alerts. Let me just check my other phone and we'll see. Hey, look at it. It's been coming down a little bit too. Let me check if my team is saying something. Okay, cool. So we are showing that this live. We're just having some issues. No worries. But let's check it out. Let's check it out. All right, we see this candle wanting to break. So let's just see if we get a good push down, which would be awesome. Good. So I've put the chart itself in here as well. Feel free to look at this live as I'm doing. Again, I have to go out there and take care of some other things this morning. But look at it. It went as high as negative 620. We're down minus 280. That's why we just didn't take it because it went negative. We have to know what we're willing to risk. And once we know that, we can feel confident in our trade. Does that make sense? Confidence comes because you're looking at what you're doing. You're saying, okay, coach, this is making some sense. I know what I'm willing to risk, right? And if I know what I'm willing to risk, that helps me out. Oh, I zoomed in too much, right? Now look at it. Minus 440. So it's going back and forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here this morning. Hopefully, this helps you out. Just wanted to give you a view of how I'm viewing the markets. How do I see it? I still take losses. I take wins like anybody else, but I am trading with structure. I'm not just getting in here and trading crazy and just uh, adding to a whole bunch of positions. And I've done all that crazy stuff before. So please don't take it that way. But we have to have structure in our mindset. And in structure with our mindset, we don't start boo-hooing because it hasn't went in our favor. We understand that losing is a part of trading, but we have to have structure with our wins and our losses. Okay? So do me a favor, let's do M3: mindset, multiplication, and management. It's been Coach Brian King. You guys be blessed. Cheers. Thank you.